Hi, hello, happy Sabbath, and Shabbat Shalom. It's nice and cold this morning compared to previous days, although it's supposed to warm back up and get into the 90s again. Right now, it's in the early 70s or low 60s, and Fluffy's leg is clearer. It does appear to be regrowing some hair where it had been losing hair. So that's a good sign that it's potentially recovering. Sorry that I lose track of the. Anyhow, what you doing? So she's theoretically doing a little better. Boy, it is nice and breezy and cool out this morning. It's almost a shame it's a Sabbath in a way, because it'd be a great day to be out working. Oh man, I'll tell you what, more days like this and I could work forever. Not that I haven't been working in the heat, don't get me wrong. But I mean, this is just premium weather for that. But on the other hand, it would be premium weather to just enjoy nature if you could. I mean, the fields haven't gotten a lot of rain, but they haven't weathered out yet. Over there, I just noticed there was a big bunch of those, if I can get my camera lined at it. Yeah, some dayflowers in a place where the goats can't eat them. Those apparently are something that we have every summer, all summer long, at least so far. Cashew. I'm getting another shot of her leg now. Tried, she turned around, ruined it for me. Yeah, the grapes, some of the grapes are withering and wilting, which unfortunately happens every year. Not sure what causes it, but some of them do, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's probably something that has to do with nutrients, or it has to do with fungus. I don't know. Of course, we've had some Japanese beetles. I put out this Japanese beetle trap over here, and that little stinker hasn't yet, that I know of, caught a single bug. You know, that thing hasn't caught a single bug, period. And it's been there for 2 weeks, so it starts weeping immediately. Lures beetles away from plants, easier to use. Garbage. Doesn't work. False advertisement. Even the fly traps haven't been working so well this year. Put new ones in. They're caught a few flies. In the past, they just catch hundreds and thousands of them. See, there's a Japanese beetle right there. They've already come and gone, technically, I suppose. This field's better covered, mostly because it's got fewer animals, but also because it catches more of the raindrops from the house. Dew fall. So the fields here are not drying up yet either. Now, over here, I finally got around to mounding up both of these little tomato plants here in hopes that they'll become big tomato plants. So I took the soil out of here, since there wasn't anything growing there, and I mounded it up, especially since that one had nearly no soil. And hopefully, pretty soon, I'll have more plant growing more tomatoes. I'm hoping over here that these things will hang on and keep struggling until cold weather hits, because when cold weather hits, I can prune them just a little bit, and when they go to take off again, there won't be any bugs left to eat them. But these things will grow in very cold weather very well. So the broccoli, anyhow. Everything else will probably die off, but at least that'll just give the broccoli And if the cauliflower is still alive, then give it some chance to grow. These mints, I'm not for sure if that's actually basil. That's what Mom was told it was, but when I try to rub a leaf, it doesn't smell like anything. Yeah, it doesn't really have an odor to it at all. Looks like the plant that she planted here, but it doesn't look like basil in the way that I'm used to basil being, and it doesn't smell like basil. Frustrating thing about this cucumber vine, growing in the grapevine, is that although it's flowering like crazy, it's not fruiting yet. There are only a few female flowers, and most of them haven't set. So they're there, they flower, they bloom, and then they do nothing. They don't fall off, they haven't yet. And they don't grow up. And so like this one over here, these two, now this one on the one side is turning yellow. Let me make certain I'm zoomed out so I'm not blurry. One of them is turning yellow like it's going to die. The other one, teeny tiny bit bigger than it was before, but it ain't growing, really. I mean, otherwise by now it should have been a lot bigger. There's bees in here pollinating these things, if possible. They're in there getting nectar out of them and pollen, though. So, it's not like there ain't no motivation. It's just no achievement. And so this thing's just becoming a whole bunch of vine without any fruit. Very, very frustrating. That one pair of, that was the first set of female flowers that this thing ever had, and they've been there over a month and they've done nothing. Usually in a month's time they weigh 2 pounds and are 1.5 feet long. Over here, only that one potato has ever erupted from the ground, even though I put other seedlings in here. And out of that, it hasn't done much anything. Part of it died back. So I don't know if it'll ever do anything. I'm leaving it there in case it will, because come fall when it cools off, in theory it should have all the time and room and energy and sunlight and everything at the right temperatures to go ahead and make a good plant. We shall see. Over here, bell pepper is pretty recovered from damage. It is recovering. It's getting new flowers on it. It's got a fruit on there that somehow survived the last attack. Where'd that fruit go? There it is. So it's got a little fruit. I can't get the there we go. It's got a little fruit there. But it had fruit that was 4.5 inches long on it that got eaten off of it before. Very frustrating when the monsters come along and eat your plants on you. But it's like, what can you do? Well, you can fence the thing, obviously. That's what I finally did. It's like not so what I can do, it's when will I do what I know I need to do. I put water and Rid-X in this in hopes that it will digest into something less clumpy, so that I can put it on these plants. So each of these was about 100 pounds before I added water to it, and it's pretty heavy stuff. Hope it doesn't fall over. It's on a slight tilt and it's leaning because the bottoms are too close together. But the thing is that, like I said, I put Rid-X in there hoping it'll break it up and make it a little easier to distribute. And I got that paint stirrer here so that when it does break up some, I can, put the motor on it and spin it and tear it all up into shreds, I hope. Some of these potatoes are still struggling. Some of them look like they're giving up, mostly because of the heat, I think. But some of them, especially the ones growing up in the grass, are still pushing to various extents. There's little potato stems here and there. I just gave them some more phosphorus the other day just in case they were alive to use it. Should give them some more potassium too. since that's critical to making a good potato. This tomato plant, and one and only freebie, it's just, well, as you can see, it's doing its thing and it ain't slowing down for nobody. I want to make certain that I get it set somewhere where it won't. There we go. I want it to balance on that fence best it can, and then train it around this way. And then see, it's climbed up that stuff, that's good. And then it's climbed along this fence row a little bit, but I have to again work it along the fence row. And the only thing is, I just don't want it to go down in there where I have to reach real far down to grab any fruit. This section here does not appear to have any fruit on it at the moment, even if it did have any on it previously. So that could just mean that that part isn't as important to me. But as long as it's growing, there's always a chance that they'll say, well, there's life, there's hope. This one over here put on a new fruit here the other day, and it's still got another fruit over here. It's not evident here, but I swapped the water hoses out last week, and now these, I've gotten them all watered real well recently. So that one is growing again. The others that are dying, I think, are just dying. On the deal with the surprise lily, well, for a while it was the only one. Let's go down this direction here anyhow. See if we can find any day flowers out on this side of the... Yeah, there's a few day flowers over here where the goats and the deer haven't eaten them off. You notice how eaten back the plant is. They've chewed on it, and so have the grasshoppers. The nightshade are, I wish my tomatoes and stuff would fruit like these nightshades do. They're fruiting like everything. They're doing great. Too bad they're not edible. And the Rose of Sharon in the morning, when there's flowers to be seen. So it's looking pretty good in the morning, whereas it looks pretty withered in the evening. But, you know, kind of one of them deals. Let me go through here. I'm not scratch myself up or step on any of these vines. So this Rose of Sharon, got broken, has bloomed once. I don't know that it bloomed this year, but it bloomed white. And the funny thing about a Rose of Sharon is, no matter what color the parent is, there's no guarantee that the children will be the same color. So you are inevitably almost guaranteed to have multiple colors of Rose of Sharon from no matter what the parent plant's color was. Interesting thought about them is it's a guaranteed variety. What I wanted to mention is now we've got another surprise lily over there on the other side of the pond. I just don't particularly care to walk all the way over there just to interview it. But it's just another surprise lily like the one over here. Just came up later. Now the others, in theory, I suppose will come up eventually. But it seems to be that they're playing a game of hide and seek, sort of, because they used to all come up at the same time. Now they don't. And so instead of having them all burst forth as a crop full of them, they come and they go, and they come and they go. And I don't know why, but they're getting a little more random. Now see, this is the hose that was over by the garage, which I swapped with the one that was over here. And it fits over here better. These plants apparently do very poorly in hot weather. So, the one there is wilting right down the ground. Got plenty of moisture and it's got plenty of soil, but it seems like it's also got plenty more heat than it wants. So, it made one pretty yellow squash, not very big, and now it's just wilting right down. The others, I don't know if they're going to make it or not. Some of them look wilty. Some of them are only just now starting to flower. That one I picked a pretty good sized squash fruit off of the other day. It's got more fruit on it still, but it's not doing very well. It's all confined into that corner. And the one fruit that I see trying to form is looking like it's not going to make it. It's like it's a shrivel on vine, unfortunately. So, I'm just one of them deals. They look pretty at first, but now they look like they're doing nothing but dying. These tomato plants, the one has only flowered once, made one fruit, and got eaten back. It's recovering. The other one hasn't put on any fruit yet, hasn't flowered yet, so who knows? It was a bumblebee. But these watermelons here are, they were looking pretty terrible at first, and their inner vines or stems are still looking pretty spindly, but the outer vine is looking just luxurious, so they're picking up speed. Hopefully before the summer's over I'll have a bunch of watermelons. That one's got blossom end rot on it. I kind of felt that might have been the case. It was going to happen. Yeah, might as well. Yeah, that one got blossom end rot, so I'm certainly short on calcium or something to... It looked alright yesterday, but today obviously it's all shriveled and rotted, so... Now whether they hold any fruit then becomes the next question. Let's see if I can't train them up in here on a fence and get them over here to shade the squash some, just because the squash are getting too much heat, too much direct scorching sun apparently. But at the moment there's just plans. I gotta get me some fencing and get them trained up the fencing and prop the fencing up there with some poles. And I've got an idea in my head. If I can pull the idea off, everything will be fine. On the other hand, of course, in the morning, there's a place over here. Let me see if I can get to it without having to wander through any sludge and trudge. Shouldn't be wet, that's for sure. We haven't had enough rain lately for this to be muddy. Right in here, there's a little field, a little patch of wild petunias that are doing just wonderful compared to everybody else. And there's just lots of them right in this one little patch. So they're taking over here, which is fine with me. Pretty little flowers. I ain't doing anything else with the land yet anyhow. So there's another shot of that lily again from that angle. Again, it's not really easy to see at a distance, but it's easy to locate because it's against that trunk of that cherry tree there. I've pruned up all those cherry trees hoping they'll grow up straight and like timber, so that's the idea there. I keep forgetting that we've got this one ironweed over here, and I know of, when we got the one, we've had a bunch of them before, but apparently something like mowing or another it's almost done blooming, but it's been pretty much puts out those lovely flowers like that, just briefly. The stupid tractor's leaking all its juices all over. Found out that the reason I had to redo the starter that one time was because diesel fuel leaked onto the motors and just the solenoid like it's doing right now, varnished it up and made it stuck. So I had to literally take it apart and clean it. It's like carburetor type cleaner, and then it worked just like new. That diesel's dripping all over the place, leaking out of all the joints. This thing leaks to both diesel and hydraulic too, so it's got a lot of work it needs done on it. Oh, Yahweh willing, here pretty soon I'll have the pulley put back on it and have it ready to run. Won't be able to do much with it other than move it back and forth a little, but having it ready to run, I'll have it where I can move it other places if I need to have it other places for work. Being worked on, I mean. Like welding, I need to weld some nuts on some of the parts. Problem is, of course, is that if it doesn't steer at all, then I won't be able to get it out very far to work on the clutches. So I may have to make my big long power cord so I can move my welder over to the unit so I can pull those nuts off. And then once I can pull those nuts off, then I can go ahead and access the clutches. Get a good shot of those sunflowers in their full morning glory. We ain't had very many morning glories out, but we've had a really abundant load of those sunflowers. They seem to be taking that hill over, and they appear to be perennial, so soon there'll be just this endless volume of yellow at some point. These things are about to open up. And again, they're not as fantastic giant flower, little tiny white dots, but they're cute. All that yuck in there, I don't know if it's evident in the camera. That's the bodies of mosquito larvae. And what happened is they started breeding in there, and so I just went and poured some acid and sludge in there, and it coated to them and killed them. They struggled for a little while and then sank to the bottom, so I'm like, yep, good and gone. Alright, now, things I have accomplished this week. Oh, I want to mention these little green dragon seeds, which I will take right back down here now that I've shown them. I'm going to put them back down in the valley where they will hopefully make newer plants and keep, I don't know how long the parent plant lives, but they are somewhat perennial, and they are an orchid, and they only have one leaf, and then they make this one stem, one flower, one cluster of fruit. Some people raise them for ornamentals. They grow wild here, but I've got a place where they grow pretty well, so I'm going to put these seeds right back down in that area so that they'll carry on where they've been carrying on. Now, on to work. Things done. This was the hub that I've been working on. So I got a new pulley. The old pulley was just completely, the old pulley is just absolute crap. And even a fresh paint job doesn't make it look any good. It's rotted out. It can't even go back together. Went in and went to etch it to keep it from rusting. It just ate the inside of it out where it wouldn't fit. But you look how pitted and disastrous it is, and it's made out of flimsy metal anyhow. So I just got a new one. Here I've got new bearings on both sides pressed into the shaft. And then I've got a grease fitting, which there's no grease in there yet, but there will be as whenever I go back together with it. I got a new grade 8 bolt and nut to put the brake back on. And again, these parts were etched and before painting. And there's a little spot I missed, but oh well, not that bad. So that piece is ready to go back in. Up to that point. This right here, yes, there are sockets shoved in 2 pieces of pipe. When I'm done, they won't be. The sockets will come back out. If you look at these, I want to line them up this way. This here is going to be welded into here, which of course I've got to drill the hole. And it will sit like that. And this will be cut to the right depth, and there'll be some washers or something of some kind in the bottom, which I've got some big washers over there that I might co-opt for this. Anyhow, and what'll happen is this piece will be welded through in this direction, and it'll leave these 2 holes, notches, available so that this piece here is going to be part of a custom wrench. I've already got some steel that's going to be the handle part, but these pieces here will slide together, and then it'll still allow room to put a normal socket down through it to tighten up the bolt in the middle of the hub assembly. That bolt will go into that hole through the where is that thing? There it is. This assembly right here. Oops, if I don't drop it on the floor. These twine pieces, you can have them all there, you can have only one there, it doesn't matter. I just got them all in one place because I don't have anywhere else to put them. But these pieces and that bolt goes through that hole, and so right now it's just kind of thrown together, sitting here waiting its time. I say thrown together is hopefully not falling apart, more accurately. But those pieces all together will go, actually there's a hub shell protector I think I've shown before right here. This piece here actually comes in direct contact, that it sits just like that on there. And the reason for that is that generally keeps crud off of the surface of this hub. So it's a protective cover, and it works with those twines. They all stack together. It's this, then those twines, then there'll be this new coaster ball. Originally it came with a plastic one, but the plastic one wore down and disintegrated, so I'm making a steel one. Now how long will a steel one last, I do not know, but at least one thing about it, as long as it isn't completely destroyed, I can do one of two things. I can either literally weld it up more, or I can put another one on there. Rather not have to put another one on there because it'd be more work than repairing it, skinning over the old one. In fact, the other option is to take one of the other pieces of steel and literally pressure conform it, mash down on it, and fit it over there and weld it in place, or even cut it into sections and weld it on. Because if I cut it, like say into 6 pieces with 3 cuts, then in theory I can get it close enough it'll close down on there, and I'll re-weld it at the joints, and it'll just be extra armor on there to make it last extra long. So I'd weld it along the joints, and then I'd weld it along this crown edge. Since there'd be a hole in the middle, I'd be welding it around that too. So what would be left, these little petals if you will, would be welded on all sides to each other and to this piece. But again, this piece will not be this deep, and the reason is simply because I don't have a deep enough socket to go far enough in there. If I make this part too long, its combined length is that. Let's see how long that'll be. Well, that might be okay actually. But the idea is that these together can't be longer than the socket, or the socket won't get to the bottom. And if the socket doesn't get to the bottom, then you can't put maximum torque on the bolt, and then it'll be loose and back its way out. So that's the theory and the premise behind that. So again, one of these goes on here, one of these becomes a wrench. And if you've ever seen somebody work on lifters on a car that has lashable valve lifter adjustment, it's the opposite in the fact that theirs they have a flat wrench on the outside moving a locking nut, while a hex key in the middle drives the adjuster depth stud. And in this case, we have a locker on the outside and we're driving a bolt on the inside. So same principle, just opposite angle of approach. And I believe that is absolutely everything that I've done this week. Haven't done anything else to this thing yet. I mean, that's all part of this job. I haven't done anything else besides that hub. Unfortunately, I'm not very productive and I don't work very fast. Again, I'm making a, I'm making a tool. That's the other thing. I can't remember what I was doing. Alright. This thin flat piece of metal here is going to be part of that wrench that I was telling you about. The wrench, I'll cut a hole in this and weld the tube part to that, and then I'll take another piece of like this right here and I'll weld to the other end of it there to give myself a comfortable handle. And this was just in here etching and derustifying mostly. And this phosphoric acid. This disc in here, I am going to use this in particular to weld to that ring there. I won't weld it like I'm, building a tank or something, but it'll be welded on here like so, and that'll allow me a way to see how it's already got a hole cut in it. I'm going to put holes in it so I can bolt it down to this stationary, and then I'll have this hole saw, which is 4.5 inches, and what I'm doing is cutting all the irregular unroundness out of the inside of this pipe down about 1/2 inch or some. And the idea is that'll give me a good round cradle to fit that curved piece into. And I expect I'll at least have to tack the curved piece to the holder. The neighbor's driving out. Doesn't sound like a jet or like thunder. Oh, I wouldn't be upset if it rained today. It's not scheduled to rain. They thought yesterday it would, but then today they think it won't. But if it rains, I'll be happy. We need more rain. Only Yahweh knows if it's going to rain or not. We've only gotten a couple hundreds in the last few days. The only reason that's full, one, is because they're right under the awning of the building. 2, they catch more than just the rain. And 3, because I had an acid etch treatment going on that I had left over acid that I poured in here I was talking about earlier that filled them up. But I also put that water in there, and some of that water, some of the water that was in these things, they filled back up since the other day. Not sure where they got the water from, but probably just dewfall or a passing drizzle. Anyhow, so the idea, going back to what I was talking about earlier, is I'm going to cut that down. I'm going to say maybe as low as this right here, and then what that'll theoretically do is create a round pocket that I can put that piece and press it down into. Then I will use this same tool as an alignment guide and I put a different driver. I'm going to put a high torque driver on it here for this job. Then I'm going to put a low torque on these Diablo drivers. To give you an example, because I have a 4-inch, which is too small, but these Diablos thread right on here. I say that and then it doesn't want to go. There we go. So they thread on here and they clip on here, and the advantage is this is both a larger and longer drill. And once I get this hole drilled, it'll be center. And the matter of then is to take one of these hole cutters and follow through that hole. I only get one chance because the centerpiece comes out with it. But once I've got that hole, if it's the right size, and this one isn't, probably go with 1 1/8 or something, or 1 1/4, whatever I go with. I'll just have to look and see what I've got and if I ain't got the right size. Possibly. What's this one? This 1 1/2 is probably too big. I'm gonna check. Yeah, that's a little too big. I need 1 1/8, which I don't know if I have. Well, it's 1 1/8. 1 1/8 does not look like it's the right size for that. But since I don't have one in between at 1 3/16, and I don't think they make one, it's probably what I'm going to have to do is core it out with this, and then use a fly cutter or some kind, or a boring tool or something to bring the diameter to the right actual diameter for this. I don't know. We'll find out. The thing about this socket is, originally I thought I'd use that as a guide to hold that in place. It turns out that if I do that, I'll have to cut pockets. I'll actually have to cut openings in here, and that's probably not a bad idea. If I can cut just that size there and use this socket to hold it in the center, and I'll weld around the outside, and then I'll try to sneak around and cross angle weld in the inside, and then clean out the difference a little bit so that it doesn't stop the sockets from working, and then it'll probably be kind of good. Again, some of this will come off the end of it once I know how deep it needs to be. The reason I haven't cut it off is so I don't end up with it too short before I finish it. I'll just probably take a cut-off wheel and cut it off to the proper depth once I get that far. So, I've rambled on about this stuff long enough. I had to get a 1/8 inch pipe tap because I couldn't find the other one I have. Because this, again, was just a hole, was not threaded. Fortunately, it was the right size hole that I could tap into it with a 1/8 inch pipe tap and fit that in roll. So that was another thing I did. And that, I'm very confident, sums up the project as it now sits. So, with that being everything, I guess I will finally wrap this up. I have no idea how long I've gone. 38 minutes and 11 seconds. Okay, well, anyhow, probably nobody watching it by this far along. Anyhow, so I'll see you all next Sabbath and hopefully have more progress to report then. Till then, have a blessed rest of your day and a blessed oncoming week, and hopefully we'll be able to see something again next Sabbath. Bye for now.